In today's news, seaports to reopen December 8th and a temporary termination extended to November 15th.
And public schools have been given the green light to reopen in a phased approach. All that and so much more when 284 News returns.
How does financial services benefit the BVI? It's been around for more than 3 decades before the World Wide Web and is now part of the everyday life of our islands. More than 2,200 people are directly employed in financial services, and another 3,000 jobs are supported indirectly. Jobs are corporate service providers, lawyers, insolvency, accounting, banking, insurance, regulators. That's almost 27% of the national workforce. Of those, more than 65% are BVI landers and belongers. What about restaurants, supermarkets, or shops? Well, 100% of people eat. So, they buy food. They buy swimsuits and shampoo and cars and power tools and plantains and fish and roti and pates. Financial services employees buy painkillers and lots of beer. Then there's electricity and dental floss and toilet paper and pretty much everything else. And everyone needs a roof over their heads and a place to do business, so we all rent or buy from a local landlord. Housing and office space alone means millions of dollars into the pockets of BVI families. At the end of the day, everyone benefits, including charities who receive thousands of dollars every year. And more than 60% of all government revenues come from fees paid by financial services. This money is spent on schools, roads, ports, scholarships, the environment, health, sports, children, youths, and the elderly. Financial services contributes more than $290 million to the BVI economy. That's more than 30% of all economic activity is driven by financial services. This creates thousands of jobs all across the islands, meaning more people have a way to earn a living. What does financial services do for the BVI? Let's just say it keeps our lights on. Financial services is everybody's business. So, come on, mind your business and let's not keep this to ourselves.
Welcome everybody. It's Thursday, October 22nd, 2020. A terrific Thursday to each and every one of you. We're coming to you live and direct from our home, the beautiful British Virgin Islands. I'm Ron Grant.
And my name is Javon Wilson. Ron, the end of the work week here in the British Virgin Islands. As we all know, tomorrow is a holiday. So, of course, marking the beginning of a very long week. And I know lots of persons.
Holiday, to be exact.
Yes, looking forward to that. But, Ron, we want to begin today with sharing why we're even wearing these T-shirts. Of course, in trying to raise awareness for spina bifida. Is that
spina bifida? Yes. Spina
bifida. Of course, raising awareness for little Zaya. I mean, ever since her mom came on to our 284 Media Network and really shared on the experience, the BVI has really lended ear, heart, and compassion to the cause. And today, painting the tongue yellow. So I'm just really happy to see, especially corporate BVI coming on board and supporting this child, but really raising awareness for an issue in the community that probably go over the heads of many persons.
I'm glad you said that, Jovan, because there are a lot of situations where persons are simply not aware. And I think Ms. O'Neill, without even knowing it, brought so much awareness to this. And we are so proud of her, and we thank her for being so candid and sharing it. And we are supporting her in this cause.
Absolutely. Coming out to a big meeting with the Jos Van Dyke community today. The government of the Virgin Islands really under some heat, Ron. Big questions being asked over there in Jos Van Dyke. And, you know, we want to say that we stand with persons all across the BVI, but I really like the way the residents in Jos Van Dyke really stand up for themselves in a very candid nature and really holding everyone accountable in the process. So tough questions asked today. Of course, one regarding why only the Terrence B International Airport as we gear to reopen on December 1st. And Ron, based on what the government said today, some seaports will be open on December 8th.
Which is great news. Now, in addition to that announcement, the temporary termination information that is under the Ministry of Labor. The Minister of Labor was really essentially in this meeting trying to find a common ground
Yes.
that would fit both employees and employers. And some dates were thrown around, but so far it looks like that date would possibly be extended to November 15th. That's confirmed based on today's meeting. That was the date.
And I know even that date is bringing some controversy, Ron, because what persons are saying is that this works out for the employer and not necessarily employees.
Correct.
And so it's going to be a tough decision. The minister did say that this is subject to change, and we're waiting solid confirmation on that. But that is definitely the
Yes.
date he threw out there today. On the international scene, some interesting news. The Pope, for the very first time, embracing same-sex marriages. He said, and I quote, "Homosexual people have the right to be in a family. They are children of God," he said in one of his sit-down interviews. For the very first time, he said, "You can't kick someone out of a family nor make their life miserable for this. What we have is a civil union law, and that way they are legally covered." As again, like we said again, sorry, this is the first pontiff to endorse same-sex civil unions, and it sparked quite a conversation across the world. But Ron, lots and lots and lots of
Yes.
support coming from gay Catholics as they try to figure out the official meaning of this.
Well, Jovan, this story once came out, broke the internet, and I'll tell you for a couple of reasons. Agree or disagree
Right.
with same-sex marriage, it is interesting to see religious leaders like the Pope weighing in on such a heavy topic,
Absolutely.
and this is the first for him of his kind and persons of his stature to really speak out on it. So we're going to see where it comes from, but we know the Catholic Church in particular has been caught in a number of conversations, and to see him speak out on this is quite interesting.
Absolutely.
All right, now beginning on the local scene, as we mentioned earlier, some seaports across the British Virgin Islands will reopen on December 8th, 2020, according to the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Sherry B. DeCastro, which was announced today at the meeting held with government officials and residents of the Just Van Dyke community. Now, the question posed by a Just Van Dyke resident stated, and I quote, "We are concerned that the opening with airport-only access will not provide sufficient traffic to Just Van Dyke to enable tourism businesses to operate profitably. Can you comment, please?" Now, in response, Premier Foy reassured residents that some seaports will welcome guests from December 8th. However, this will not apply to all officially, and he again reiterated that on Monday there will be a grand announcement of the protocols as well as give a lot more information. Now, since the formal announcement of the reopening of the borders, many residents were duly concerned about government's decision to make the Terence B. Lettsome International Airport the only point of entry. At that time, the Premier said that Beef Island-based port would serve as a controlled environment, perfect for testing safety protocols that can be used at other ports. Now, Just Van Dyke is heavily dependent on tourists, as we know, who access the island by boat. Many were duly concerned that the restrictions could result in the further collapse of the economic activity on the tourism-rich island. Now, Jovan, when this announcement was given by the Honorable At-Large Member Sherry B. DeCastro, sounds of applause came from
can
residents
imagine.
as they seemed relieved because of the particularly heavy marine industry, for which is also a big part of Just Van Dyke. So this comes as great news to them. The excitement was real.
Absolutely. And Ron, really as a savior, this
Yes.
is their lifeline over there in Just Van Dyke. When we think about the boats that come in from the USVI especially and enter through White Bay, I mean, this is exactly what we've been surviving on for years. So I know many persons in Just Van Dyke are relieved because literally their livelihoods depend on this. But viewers, also coming out of that meeting today, the Minister of Labor, Honorable Vincent Whitley, has also stated that the October 31st temporary termination, that is, the deadline will now be extended to November 15th to benefit both the employers as well as employees across the BVI. Now, the question posed by a concerned resident on Just Van Dyke during today's community meeting, of course, lots of questions coming up, but persons really wanted to know as it refers to their jobs,
Yes.
Ron, across the BVI, whether there will be company owners, that is, whether they will be forced to sever staff or retain those staff. And with the current climate, especially economically, it's really difficult to bring back persons not knowing necessarily what lies ahead. So definitely one of the big questions coming out of today's meeting. Now, the November 15th tentative date was rejected by some residents who said they have persons who are currently
Yes.
ready to work and further requested that the date be extended to December 15th or even the 31st. Now, in response to that, Minister Whitley said he is trying to find a middle ground by seeking balance for both parties. Now, viewers, it was further stated that the government is also considering the possibility of a payment plan for severance, of course, to buttress the business owners facing these financial constraints as a result of COVID-19. Now, we can all remember back in May of this year, the Minister of Labor, Honorable Vincent Whitley, in an exclusive interview with us here at 284 Media, revealed that the government is considering extending that 3-month temporary termination period to 6 months following the pandemic. Business owners across the territory are very anxious, as we can imagine, as we close in on the end of this now October 31st deadline, in trying to determine whether to re-employ or to permanently sever staff as a result of COVID-19. According to the Premier today's meeting was designed to give government an opportunity to ascertain residents' concerns and to discuss, share ideas, and plan for the re-strengthening of the community and the overall territory. Ron, lots coming out from over there, and I know the residents had quite a lot to say about that as well.
Absolutely. Some other initial findings coming out of that very long meeting lasted for about 3.5 hours. From the Minister of Transportation, Works and Utilities, a lot of road repairs are expected. He mentioned that there are about, I forget the exact terminology, but 30 pounds, perhaps that's wrong, but asphalt that's specifically utilized and saved just for Jost Van Dyke. So they can look forward to that. In addition to that, COVID testing labs coming for Jost Van Dyke and Virgin Gorda, and long-awaited ATMs for Jost Van Dyke. These don't have a time frame, but one of the things that the Honorable Leader of Government Business, Andrew Foy, in closing said is that all of these things mentioned, if you do not see them, by at least December, call us, keep us accountable. So that's ATMs. And of course, with a heavily busy tourism island, we're wondering exactly why there aren't ATMs on the island already, but nevertheless, those are to come. November is going to be observed as Culture and Tourism Month, and more than likely, this was also a big one, more than likely, there will be no Foxy's New Year's celebration. Of course, this is an annual event that many persons look forward to, but with the situation at hand, both the Leader of Government Business and the Minister for Health said it would more than likely be a resounding no.
And that is a difficult one to swallow, Ron, but I know the residents on the ground had quite a lot to say.
So we caught up with them. Take a look.
Well, it was nice to see the chief and all the ministers over here to come and visit us. I think the most we achieved from the whole meeting was the opportunity to see their faces. That was the most we got from the meeting. But as for answers, results, and everything we were looking for, I think personally, I think they had a meeting before they came here. They had a meeting and they had their thing well planned, because they did 100% marvelous job of avoiding most of the questions that was asked. And to me, the only thing I heard today that we didn't know is the seaports will be open on the 8th. That's the only thing. Other than that, they ain't come and tell us nothing. Nothing.
My name is Miris Joseph. I am the General Manager of Soggy Dollar Bar on White Bay in Jost Van Dyke. I'm quite pleased with the outcome of the meeting. We never intended to, lock horns with the government on any issues. We just wanted to get some feedback from them as to exactly what the plans are regarding the reopening and that sort of thing, and other issues affecting Jost Van Dyke as a whole. And I think they came pretty good. We didn't even, need to ask all the questions that we really wanted to ask, because all the ministers, touched on a lot of the issues that we're experiencing, and they were pretty clear on their plans.
My name is Tina Shinnery. I'm actually retired, but I used to be the manager of Soggy Dollar and Hindus. Overall, I think I got about 80% of my questions answered. There are still some other questions I have, but I can put them on the community chat, and I have so far gotten good response to those chats that I posted. Overall, of course, it's a meeting, and every minister would want to put in his achievements and plans for Jost Van Dyke. which was quite lengthy. But I think still, due to the fact that we had limited time to answer questions, I think the outcome was not too bad.
And there you have it. Those were the words of residents of Jos Van Dyke as they really analyzed today's meeting with the government officials, including all 9 members of the Virgin Islands Party government.
I'm just really happy, Ron, no matter what the situation is on the ground, that the government made it a priority to
Correct.
have this public dialogue with the community, because oftentimes we feel as if there's a disconnect between the people and the parties, and you want to ensure at all times that you're not only there to lead the charge for the people's needs, but you really understand what the needs are on the ground.
Especially
And
the sister islands.
Absolutely. Going to the source, I think, is so very important. I'm really happy again that the residents of Jos Van Dyke had the gall and the gumption
Absolutely.
to speak up on the issues that really are affecting them, especially since they contribute so significantly to the tourism product. And we should, of course, in all our decisions, be inclusive of them.
And might I add, Jovan, that this is not the first time that they have proven to be so resilient. We would all remember, of course, the lockdown, and they were
Yes.
adamantly speaking out against what they felt was a bit of injustice.
Right.
So we hear them again speaking up.
Absolutely. And I want to close with the fact that one of the ministers mentioned, we all have issues. We won't be perfect. This is a difficult time and a very fluid situation. And once we come to the table respectfully, we can always come to a resolve. And I think that was a powerful message coming
Yes.
out of the meeting today.
All right, viewers, still ahead. Public schools to reopen on a staggered approach, and Premier Foy says the greatest asset is our people. All this and more when we return. You're watching a 284 News.
How does financial services benefit the BVI? It's been around for more than 3 decades before the World Wide Web and is now part of the everyday life of our islands. More than 2,200 people are directly employed in financial services, and another 3,000 jobs are supported indirectly. Jobs are corporate service providers, lawyers, insolvency, accounting, banking, insurance, regulators. That's almost 27% of the national workforce. Of those, more than 65% are BVI landers and belongers. What about restaurants, supermarkets, or shops? Well, 100% of people eat. So, they buy food. They buy swimsuits and shampoo and cars and power tools and plantains and fish and roti and pates. Financial services employees buy painkillers and lots of beer. Then there's electricity and dental floss and toilet paper and pretty much everything else. And everyone needs a roof over their heads and a place to do business, so we all rent or buy from a local landlord. Housing and office space alone means millions of dollars into the pockets of BVI families. At the end of the day, everyone benefits, including charities who receive thousands of dollars every year. And more than 60% of all government revenues come from fees paid by financial services. This money is spent on schools, roads, ports, scholarships, the environment, health, sports, children, youths, and the elderly. Financial services contributes more than $290 million to the BVI economy. That's more than 30% of all economic activity is driven by financial services. This creates thousands of jobs all across the islands, meaning more people have a way to earn a living. What does financial services do for the BVI? Let's just say it keeps our lights on. Financial services is everybody's business. So, come on, mind your business and let's not keep this to ourselves.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, great news coming out as it relates to education. Now, students and teachers of the public school system are now one step closer to returning to a normal classroom setting following the physical closure of schools since March of this year. Now, this was confirmed by Minister of Education, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, who said, and I quote, "The Ministry of Education has been given the green light to phase in all students in all public schools by grade levels in the way which best suits their circumstances and which will ensure the best for the students in attendance. I wish to state that while preparations for the 6 feet social distancing measures have been ongoing at schools, given the number of students in classes, it will not be possible to accommodate all students at the same time like we did prior to the pandemic. We are therefore proposing a phased timeline for the remaining groups of students as follows. Now, during the week from Monday, October 26th, kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2 will have specific reporting days, and that will be communicated by the respective principals. Monday, the 9th of November, we have grades 3 to 6, as well as grades 10 to 12. And on Monday, the 4th of January, we have grades 7 to 9. Now, the ministry proposes a blended hybrid learning model of instruction in schools. This means that schools that can accommodate all their students with the physical distancing guidelines may operate fully on-site while incorporating some online learning. Other schools must engage in a staggered schedule or a shift system to ensure the best results. Now, blended or hybrid learning, as we all know, is a mixture of traditional face-to-face classroom instructions with mobile learning and online activities, which are both individualized and student-centered. Even in the classroom, however, the minister did say, and he emphasized this, that schools should continue to engage students through a series of online interactive sessions utilizing Cisco WebEx, Zoom online platform, the Class Dojo, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Google Teams, as well as the Google Hangout, combined with the Google Classroom emails and Power School for sending and receiving assignments. The schools shall be prepared appropriately to accommodate the students during the days of on-site classes. Now, clear demarcations must be placed, separating spaces for each student. Wash basins must also be visible for hand washing, and sanitizers must be in all classrooms for ongoing sanitization throughout the day. For the online classes, the proper dress code will be enforced. For any exception, permission must be granted by the principal of that specific school. Students must also come with proper tools and the right attitude for learning, said the minister. All persons on school campuses must wear a mask or a face shield. Students are also expected to come on site classes with a mask or face shield as well, and their personal bottle of hand sanitizer. Interesting. Visitors to school campuses will be restricted as well. Each school will decide how visitors will be accommodated with the restricted guidelines. However, school schedules will be outlining lunch as well as break periods and having them occur as well, again, in a staggered approach to ensure a control of student gatherings in groups. It will be required for students to carry packed lunch to school, or parents should make the necessary arrangements for lunch to be delivered to the child at the school, as vendors will not be available on campus during this phase. Ron, I know a moment that the BVI has been awaiting for quite some time. Not just our parents, but our teachers, and more importantly, our students to get back to some level of normalcy. We've had this debate over the last couple of months as it relates to private schools and the advantages they may have over our public school system students. And the one thing that we know now is that it is happening. It's not happening as fast as we expected to. And clearly not everyone will return to the classroom immediately. But we do see the ministry, through the Minister of Education, Honorable Natalia Wheatley, making some steps under the guidance, really, of the Department of Health and the Environmental, Department of Environmental Health, as it relates to the COVID-19 protocols and guidelines. We see our students being able to get back to the classroom.
Again, Jovan, great news, and we continue to wish the Ministry of Education, along with the Minister, the utmost of success as they continue to implement new ways for us to really maneuver through this very difficult time.
Absolutely.
Now, in speaking of COVID-19, nonprofit organizations and corporate companies continue to partner to help families in need. One of those partnerships is between WIN BVI and Caribbean Sellers. We were at Caribbean Sellers to exactly hear about what this new promotion is going to do for persons in need. Women in Need BVI is really an organization that seeks to help women, whether it's single parents, persons who might be in a domestic violence situation, and it's really good to hear them come together and do this partnership show. Take a look.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alicia Green, the Director with Women in Need BVI. I am here with my deputy, Deborah Henry, and we are also happy to be here at Caribbean Sellers with CEO, General Manager, he's all sorts of things, Kevin Boy.
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Kevin. I am actually super excited with the partnership that we have. Kevin has been a supporter of the Women in Need initiative since way back. And today we have a very important, very interesting program that we're going to be putting in place. And all of this is to help to support our reform programs for women in the community, and also to help with feeding families in the community. So with that, I will take it over to Kevin, who's going to tell us what he's going to be doing with us.
Yes, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be donating a percentage, which will be 10% of every tequila rose bottle that is being sold from now until the end of the year. And the reason we're doing that is because we've always partnered with WinBVI, and I think being with you guys and the partnership that we've had for so long, and I feel it's something that a lot of times get lost, but we have a lot of women out there that's desperately in need. And I mean, myself, all of us, we all come from a woman, correct? And I'm a big mama boy, so anything that I can do to help any lady that's in need, whether a single mom or mom with many kids or whatever the case may be, I always want to be a part of that. And today we're happy to come on board and help you guys with our Tequila Rose promotion, which will generate some funds to help these ladies out throughout the rest of the year. So we're very excited.
Definitely, and I really embrace this type of partnership, because when we actually approached Kevin a few months ago, and we know where we are with the whole COVID situation and a lot of businesses being sort of strapped for cash, and he actually came up with this idea, well, we don't have cash, but we can do this. And so we're really happy to see it come to fruition today, and we're looking forward to the support from the community. But I really would like to hear a bit more about this drink. What is so special about the Tequila Rose?
I've heard about it, but yeah, I'm interested too.
I mean, it's a very smooth, elegant drink that you can have morning or in the night, and it's like a breath of fresh air. Especially the bottle is so unique that when it's warm, it's just silver roses, but as it gets cold, the roses actually become a bright pink. So it's like a breath of fresh life, like breath of fresh air. So it's like new life, and what we're trying to do is help these ladies with a breath of fresh air, give them new life. So I feel like the bottle and the significance of it, it speaks to what exactly that we're doing.
I actually like that. I like that very much, because we're talking about reforming women, and this sounds definitely like a celebration of new life, a celebration of life. And that's one of my things.
Yes.
Every day we wake up, we should give thanks, be grateful that we are on the land of the living, and celebrate.
What I really like about this initiative, because we're always looking sponsors, and you've jumped right on board, which is great and awesome. But what you've also demonstrated here, that there are other ways to be able to support us that are supposedly non-cash.
Yes.
I like the creative way in which you've gone about to decide, okay, hey, this is how we can do it.
Yes.
And it also encourages other supporters to come on board with the initiatives that we have been pushing to support the women, and an extension of them, their families.
Exactly. So, like I said, we're very excited to be partnering with you guys again. It's always been a great relationship, so it's never any complaints there.
Awesome.
Corporate sponsorship and support again for women in need. Jovan, I'd love to see it.
I'm
Love
here
to
for
see
it.
yeah.
Absolutely, I'm here for it. I was just speaking to Ms. Green just today, and really zeroing in on the advocacy they
Correct.
do for women. I'm just really proud of it. It's a great message to send to our girls as well. And really happy that Kevin and his team over there at Caribbean Cellars are always on board as it relates to corporate social
Yes.
responsibility. Viewers, that is it for our newscast. As usual, it was our pleasure. We want to say enjoy that weekend. Please do find something very comfortable to do. My name is Javon Wilson.
And I'm Ron Grant. It's always a pleasure. Have a happy Thursday, and we will see you on Monday. And over the weekend, of course, stay tuned to our website for all the latest happenings. Bye-bye.